The D'Angelo brothers started selling pennants on Yawkey Way in 1947. From there, 47 was born. Boston and its sports teams have changed quite a bit since then, and along the way, 47 has been there for Boston sports fans. So in honor of that, we're counting down the top 70 moments in Boston sports since 1947. Here's moments 20 through 11, starting with moment number 20, Dave Henderson's home run in the 1986 ALCS. Back in 1986, the Red Sox were still cursed and hadn't been in the playoffs since 1975. They found themselves in Game 5 of the American League Championship Series, but got down early, trailing the Angels 3-1 and losing in the game 5-2, entering the bottom of the ninth. The Sox would rally to force extra innings with substitute center fielder Dave Henderson hitting a homer in the inning. Then, in the top of the 11th, Henderson came to the plate again and knocked another home, this time the game winner, as the Sox won Game 5 7-6 in 11 innings. They'd go on to win the ALCS in 7 and advance to the World Series. Moment number 19, Red Auerbach's final victory cigar as a Celtics coach. Red Auerbach coached the Celtics from 1950 to 1966 and is known as the architect of the Celtics dynasty from the late 50s and into the 60s. Red earned his 9th and final NBA title as head coach in Game 7 of this 1966 NBA Finals as the Celtics defeated the Lakers 95-93 in a classic at the Boston Garden. Coach Auerbach lit a cigar one more time before moving on to his role as general manager and eventually president of the team until his death in 2006. Moment number 18, Jerry Cheever shuts out the Rangers to win the 1972 Stanley Cup. The Boston Bruins Stanley Cup titles in 1970 and 1972 are always linked with Bobby Orr and the Big Bad Bruins, but goaltender Jerry Cheevers cannot be forgotten. Cheevers posted a shutout for the Bees in Game 6 of the 1972 Stanley Cup Final, sealing the victory for Boston over the New York Rangers. It was his second shutout of the 72 playoffs and his first ever in the Stanley Cup Final. Moment number 17, Larry Bird steals pass from Isaiah Thomas. The Celtics' playoff runs during the Larry Bird era were full of thrilling games, but you could say Game 5 of the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals topped them all. The Celtics and Detroit Pistons were tied at 2 games apiece, and the C's trailed in the game by 1 point with 5 seconds left. Isaiah Thomas was inbounding the ball when suddenly Larry Bird jumped in front of his pass and stole the ball. Bird dished it off to point guard Dennis Johnson, who converted a layup to give Boston a 1-point lead and eventually win the game. The C's went on to win the series in 7 games and advance to the NBA Finals. In the 2004 ALCS, the Red Sox were trying to keep their miracle comeback bid alive. They turned to Curt Schilling in Game 6 despite the fact that he was dealing with an injured ankle, which brings us to moment number 16, Curt Schilling's bloody sock. In Game 6 of the 2004 ALCS, the Red Sox turned to an injured Curt Schilling to keep their miracle comeback bid alive. Schilling underwent a procedure to help his injured ankle the day of Game 6 and took the mound with a bloody sock that only became more noticeable as the game went on. But Schilling gutted it out, pitching 7 innings, striking out 4, and allowing just 1 run.
Tonight, God did something amazing for me. I tried to be as tough as I could and do it my way, Game 1, and I think we all saw how that turned out. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do this alone, and I prayed as hard as I could. I didn't pray to get a win or to make great pitches. I just prayed for the strength to go out there tonight and compete, and He gave me that, and I just can't explain to you what a feeling it was to be out there and to feel what I felt.
The Sox would win the game 4-2 and then win Game 7 the next night to complete the epic comeback. Moment number 15, Adam Vinatieri's snow field goals. What do you remember about that game?
Well, the weather, mainly. Vinatieri's kick, both of them, how can you forget? But it was the break of a lifetime, started a dynasty.
Many remember it as a tuck rule game, but fans in New England know just how clutch Adam Vinatieri was in the Pats' 2001 divisional round game versus the Oakland Raiders.
After the tuck rule, Tom still had to drive us down, score a touchdown. Vinatieri still had to make the kick. A lot transpired after we got that break.
Adam Vinatieri is just, I mean, he has nerves of steel. I mean, any big kick that he's ever had to do, he's converted. So, you know, he's definitely a legend for the Patriots, and it was just really exciting to watch sort of his clutch career begin on that game.
Sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good.
In all, Vinatieri was 3 for 3, plus an extra point on field goals during the game, all while a massive snowstorm covered the field at Foxborough Stadium. His game-tying 45-yard field goal with 27 seconds remaining sent the game into overtime. Then number 4 won it all for the Pats, converting a 23-yard field goal in overtime to win the game and send New England to the AFC Championship. Moment number 14, Dave Roberts' steal in 2004 ALCS.
When Dave Roberts stole the base against the Yankees, I fully admit I gave up.
It's tough to single out just one play in the Red Sox 2004 championship season, but Dave Roberts' steal started it all. In Game 4 of the 2004 ALCS, the Sox trailed by 1 run in the bottom of the 9th.
I was watching with my dad, and my dad is notorious for never giving up. He'll never leave a sporting event early.
That's when Dave Roberts pinch ran for Kevin Millar. Roberts then took off for second base on Yankees pitcher Mariano Rivera's first pitch. He barely beat the throw, but he gave all of Red Sox Nation hope.
When my guy Billy Miller stepped up to the plate and knocked him in, that's when I really started to believe that it could possibly happen.
Roberts would then follow up the steal by scoring on an RBI single by third baseman Bill Miller to tie the game at 4-4. The Sox would go on to win the game 6-4 in 12 innings and begin the greatest comeback in baseball history.
Credit to my dad for never losing faith, even seeing years and years of heartbreak.
Moment number 13, Celtics win 2008 NBA Finals. When the Boston Celtics brought together Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen, they became a team that would not be denied.
There was a lot of expectations about the Big Three. They were kind of the first Big Three in the NBA. And that's probably the best Celtics team I've seen in my lifetime.
The new Big Three lived up to the hype, winning the 2008 NBA title in their first year together as a team, raising the 17th banner to the rafters at TD Garden after a 131-92 win over the Los Angeles Lakers in Game 6. This, of course, was followed up by KG's now famous cry, "Anything is possible."
It was a bit over the top, but he's a really passionate guy, so I wouldn't expect anything less from him.
Doc let us know that, the three of us are going to have to sacrifice. I know it sounds old-fashioned and cliche, but
look at Kevin, myself, and Ray. We sacrificed so much of what we did throughout our careers to get to this point.
We had to really make our teammates better and allow them to understand the magnitude of what we were facing, so we just ignored the Big Three talk.
Boston fans love Kevin Garnett because of the intensity and the aggression he plays with on the court. You play with grit and heart and intensity, and you win over Boston fans pretty quick.
Moment number 12, John Havlicek steals the ball.
So when I was growing up, the Celtics were bad, and all I really had to go off of was the old clips of of Bird and playing against Magic and all that. But really, like, the one thing that stuck in my mind the most was the very famous "Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over."
In Game 7 of the 1965 Eastern Conference Finals, the Boston Celtics led the Philadelphia 76ers 110-109 with just 5 seconds remaining. The Sixers had the ball ready to pass inbounds until Celtics small forward John Havlicek stole the inbounds pass to seal the victory for the C's. This prompted the now famous call by legendary broadcaster Johnny Most.
He gets it out deep, and Havlicek steals it over to Stan Jones. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over. It's all over.
The grainy black and white footage and guys wearing knee pads and belts and stuff back then. Havlicek stealing the ball is a call that's probably number one in my brain, like will never ever leave.
The Celtics would go on to win their 8th NBA title over who else but the LA Lakers. If 2004 was about breaking the curse and 2013 was about Boston strong, then 2007 was about simply being the best. So here's moment number 11, the Red Sox 2007 World Series title.
When the Red Sox won the World Series in 2007, that was my freshman year of college.
I guess what I remember most is that Mike Lowell had a great World Series, but what was especially exciting were the 2 rookies that year, Dustin Pedroia and Jacoby Ellsbury, who had such great series and really gave us a lot of optimism for the future as well.
That year, the Sox had the best record in Major League Baseball, winning the AL East for the first time since 1995.
I went down to school in Southern Connecticut, so I was surrounded by Yankee fans and non-Red Sox fans. There was a very small group of us that were Red Sox fans.
They win 11-3 in the postseason, including sweeping the Colorado Rockies in the World Series. Third baseman Mike Lowell was named World Series MVP, while pitcher Josh Beckett was lights out in the postseason. The championship was the second title in 4 seasons for the Sox.
The thing about 2007 is it showed that we were legit, that it wasn't just a one-time thing.
Sox got the final out against the Rockies. We all flooded into the quad, and everyone was singing and yelling and screaming, and it was kind of a nice bonding experience for our second month of college.